So thanks for doing this.
That's okay. It's all good.
You pretty are you still in you're still in Scotland?
No, I'm in Texas now, and it's
Oh,
so hot, unbelievably hot.
when did you get there?
I got there on Friday, about 10 o'clock Friday night.
Okay, so you've been there for a minute.
Yeah, a few days. We thought we'd come out a tiny bit early just to try and acclimatise, but coming from Scotland to this heat is completely different.
Is it hot? Is the AC strong enough to keep your place cool?
It's okay. It's getting there. There's lots of fans on the go at the moment, and yeah, it's warm.
I was just in Sacramento, California. It's probably, I don't know, 2,000 miles from where you're at, but it was really hot. And I was in the house had an upstairs and downstairs and 3 air conditioners.
Okay.
And the upstairs, I don't think dropped below 80 for like 2 days with the air
Oh,
conditioner on full blast. So hopefully your place will eventually cool down.
yeah, it's not too bad to be honest. I'm kind of thinking it as like a bit of a treat because in Scotland it's never this warm, so it's quite nice just to be able to walk about with a t-shirt on and be like, "Oh, there's sun on my skin. This is amazing." So yeah, I'm fully taking it in.
And how's the time change?
It's actually okay. I think I didn't really sleep an awful lot on the flights over. Yeah, my back ended up going into like massive like spasms, and I was in an awful lot of pain for the journey across here. So I didn't get much sleep. So by the time I did actually get here, I just passed out, woke up, and it was kind of a normal time. So I've settled in, and it's okay.
Nice. By the way, congratulations, San Antonio, September 19th to the 22nd. And you're competing in what division?
I'm in the standing diagnosed division.
Say that again one more time.
Standing diagnosed.
Standing diagnosed.
Yeah.
And tell me that what is that division? What does it mean? Standing diagnosed.
So for us, there's quite a mixed, varied of different disabilities within it. There's a few girls that are deaf. There's people like myself. I've got functional neurological disorder. So basically, my brain doesn't communicate to my body properly, and it pops me in a wheelchair quite a lot. I lose my vision a lot. My cognitive function isn't the best. Yeah, so my arms at the moment, I can't really feel my arm from here down the way, but it's moving, which is good. I get massive spasms, seizures, all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's quite a varied category. There's quite a lot of us with, well, I'm neurological anyway, but there's people with joint issues, and then people obviously with deaf that are deaf. So it's quite varied.
Rachel, is that different than there was another category that I want to say Russell Almendinger was in. Is that the neurological? Is it different than that?
Yeah, so it is different. I'm not sure if the way that they've done everything. Obviously, I'm standing at the moment and I've got a diagnosis, so I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm probably in the right category, but I'm not 100% sure how they worked everything out. But I was like, I'm just going to go with it and hope for the best, really.
Okay, um, so if you're missing an arm, obviously it's obvious, right? You'll be like, okay, you're in the guys with one arm missing, or if you're
Yeah.
missing a leg, or if I know that they have the upper body, and then they have 3, or if your legs aren't working, I think they have 2 or 3 categories for that based on how much hip. But is standing diagnosed? Is it a catch-all category?
I think so. It's just completely varied. Yeah, really, really varied. I don't know how they worked it out, but we're all standing at the moment, all with some form of diagnosis. So I'm like, there we go, we're here.
And so did you just ask someone? You're like, hey, you hand them your diagnosis, and you're like, put me in a category.
Yeah, I was speaking to the team from Wheelwad. I was like, I'm not 100% sure where I would fit into this because I think at the time when I'd been speaking to Wheelwad, my left leg wasn't working. But I was like, I can still stand on it, so I don't really know where I go. So I ended up having to forward them like loads of paperwork, medical reports, doctor's reports, kind of a bit about my history and what's happened to me over the past few years. And then they
Yeah.
just popped me into my category. I'm like, oh, sweet, that's me. I'm registered.
It's really amazing how Kevin pulls this off because there are so many categories. I bet you I haven't talked to him, but I'm guessing that his number one priority is to get everyone in and get everyone placed.
Yeah.
And because there's so many nuances to the situations people are in and their diagnoses, it's crazy impressive. So congratulations for going and being part of such a great organization and great event.
Oh, thank you so much. I think it's incredible because there is so many there's 15 different categories throughout, male and female, and everybody's so different. Like at the moment I'm training with Liam Smith, who's one of the guys from the UK. Him and his coach OD, they're amazing. They're really funny, really good guys. He's also in standing diagnosed as well. And then I'm also training with Henry Dunn, who has his arm amputated from about there. Down the way, and his coach Shorts as well. So they're really cool guys. So it's nice to have a little bit of home comforts over here, which is good.
Uh, uh, my superficial audience is already weighing in on your looks. She's cute. The red hair is brilliant.
Oh
Um,
god.
I'm happy to say you will be objectified here very nicely.
I'm gonna just not look at the comment side of it. I was speaking to, I think it's Jon Clark.
Yeah.
Jonathan Clark, his name is, so I know he speaks to you quite a bit. So I was like, oh man, I'm not too sure how I feel about this, a little bit nervous. Like I'm fine to go out do the workouts, all the rest of it, but actually speaking about things, I'm like, oh no, I'm not too sure. And he's like, oh, you'll be fine, just don't look at the comments, whatever you do. I was like, okay, that's me, don't look at the comments.
And you're a great mom too, by the way. I really appreciate the posts where you show that you're working out with your son and the time you spend with him. Do you have one kid, one child?
I got two children.
Two children?
I've got a daughter, Isla, she's 5, and my son Hamish is 7. And they're so cool. They're just like my little best friends. Yeah, he was. I think it must have been. Was it the one when we were benching in the garage that you seen?
Yes.
Yeah, he was off school that day, and typical. I was like, he was not feeling well in the morning, so I'm like, do we put him to school? Do we not? I'm like, if I put him to school, they're going to phone me just as I get to the gym. So I was like, right, you can stay off. Kept him off for a little bit, and he wasn't well. And it got to about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. He's like, Mom, you need to train now. I was like, okay, like, right, I'm going to be your coach today. I was like, okay, no bother. So that was me and him in the garage, just having the best time. And I know since I've been over here, he's been staying with my auntie. So he set up a gym at her house, made it out of toilet roll boxes and put a broom handle on top. He's like, this is my new pull-up bar. I'm like, you're so cool. So cool.
You've taught him well.
Yeah.
Rachel, I want to go back to I went through dug through your Instagram, and it sounds like almost like every morning you wake up and you don't know what you're going to get, and that your situation is moment to moment. Is this something you were born with?
No, I've been like absolutely fine the majority of my life. And it was when I was 19, I woke up and I was fully paralyzed on my left hand side. So it looked like I'd had a stroke. So obviously they put me into hospital and they tested me for things like MS, Parkinson's, strokes, various different cancers, all that sort of things. And they just couldn't put a finger on what it was. So I was in hospital for ages, and eventually they came out with a diagnosis, functional neurological disorder, which is basically my communication between my brain and my body had just gone, nope, I've had enough, don't want to like communicate anymore. So if you think of your nervous system as like a bicycle chain, every so often one of the links will pop off the chain, and then you've got to retrain it on how to work. And so that took me about a year and a half pretty much to get my face working, my arm working, my leg back to normal, back up and standing. And yeah, it was not nice. It was really, I remember being 19 at the time and being like, oh my gosh, like what has happened to me? Yeah, because I've always been quite active. I ski quite a lot. I used to dance, and to have all of that kind of taken away from you and not know what was going on, that was really scary. But now, I don't know, I'm a good bit older now. I'm 34 now. So I know that when these episodes do actually happen, that I know that they will pass. I've just got to actually work my ass off to get them to kind of come back to normal and get my body back moving again as well. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely horrible at the time, especially sometimes if it lasts for more than a couple of weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck like this for like a year, however long. And it's heartbreaking because Hamish now knows if I wake up in the morning, he's like, right, Mom, it's fine. I'll just go get your wheelchair. He comes across with my wheelchair, and I'm like, how like crap is this for my kids to have to actually help out in that way? But at the same time, they see it as something fun because then they get rides on the wheelchair. They get to go flying up and down on the hill on it, and like my whole house is adapted, my car is adapted, everything's been done just to make sure that like our life doesn't change too much when things aren't working properly, because we still want to have fun at the end of the day.
So you can go to bed and everything functioning fine and wake up and not be able to walk.
Yeah, it's not great.
What? Tell me about this diagnosis. Is it because they don't know? Like this diagnosis, do they know what causes it? Do they have any ideas? What was?
I don't know. They've done loads of research. I know now the doctors and everything have a lot more understanding of it. So they think it could be either down to a trauma response,
A
um,
what response? A
a
what?
trauma response. So something bad had happened in the past,
Okay.
and I obviously didn't function with it properly, and I didn't process it properly. My brain's just gone no. But also, like if I've had, like say, if I had the COVID vaccine once, never having it again because after that, about 2 3 days after, I was straight back in the wheelchair. Also things like if I've had a virus, if I've had a bug, if there's just like genetic stressful, horrible situations going on, people, terrible men, that's one thing as well. If somebody's really, really horrible or really nasty, then my body's just like, nope, not having any of this. So I'm kind of realizing what things kind of trigger it. So at the moment, I just try my hardest to stay as like calm as possible, as healthy as possible, and just avoid terrible people as well. Um,
This is a pic. It's crazy because
Sorry, I'm just trying to see.
this is you doing an overhead squat. So one day you could be doing this, and the next morning you get up, and
Yeah,
can you even feel your legs when you can't use them?
no, so like just now my arm I can sit and I can pinch it and you can't feel it at all. I can move it, so as long as I can see where it's going, it's okay to grab onto a bar. And my legs, there's parts of them at the moment I can't feel. When they're gone, they're completely gone. You can't feel anything at all. I haven't been able to feel my feet for about 3 years. Yeah, 2 3 years now. So that's interesting. I walk into quite a lot of things all the time.
Just from going down rabbit holes and doing research on your own, is there anything that you've come across and been like, okay, I think it could be this? Like I got some bad meat or I was exposed to something. I mean, is there anything that you've come up with?
No.
And I'm guessing you've dug around.
Yeah, I've done loads and loads of research, especially when I was younger, just trying to figure out why I'm like this. And now I'm at the stage, I'm like, do you know what? There's actually no point in me being looking into it further. I'm like, this is just me. There's nothing else I can do apart from just get up and get on with it and try and make our lives as nice as we possibly can.
Of course, the people in the chat want to diagnose you, and I don't want to bombard you with this, but someone said something about parasites. Have you ever looked into that?
Yeah, they looked into all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And you took stuff to try to clean that, like non-harmful stuff, like an ivermectin or something like that before?
I'm not 100% sure. I've been filled to the full with so much stuff throughout, because so now I basically refuse to take any medicinal things. But previously they would be banging me full of stuff left, right, and centre just to see if things would help. But no, but tested for loads of things like Lyme's disease and loads of different parasite sort of things. Yeah, they tested me far too much. So now, like if things do happen, I remember when it happened to both of my legs. So beforehand, it was always left-sided. So I'd had it a few times, gone into hospital a few times, and then I was like, do you know what? There's no point in me going into hospital whatsoever. So if it would happen, I would just get on with it. Like it'd be fine, it'll pass, I'll do it myself. But then when I woke up and both my legs had gone at the same time, I was a bit like, oh, this is not great because it never happened to my right side before. So they put me into hospital, and that was a whole month of just continuous tests, obviously like lumbar punctures, loads of different things. And with the lumbar puncture, they ended up, I don't know what happened, but it ended up bleeding into my brain. So that I was so ill for so long. And then eventually, when I was well enough, they put me out of hospital, and I'm like, I'm never going back in. I really don't want to go back on unless I'm like actually dying, and something's really really bad. Then I'm not getting poked and prodded because it's not fair, and it makes you a hell of a lot worse at the end of the day.
That went over my head. How did the bleeding happen in your brain?
I'm not 100% sure what happened. They did a lumbar puncture. So a lumbar puncture is just basically where they put a needle into your spine and they extract some of the fluid. Yeah, and I don't know what had happened, but it ended up leaking and all of the fluid had gone into my brain, and it was just awful. I was so sick. I couldn't move my head off the pillow. I just had to stay flat, and they were like putting caffeine into me all the time to see if that would clear it. Nah, it wouldn't. So then they had to go back and do a second lumbar puncture to, I don't know, basically infuse it to make it bleed again so that it would clot and stop the bleeding. And luckily that worked, but it was horrible. Absolutely
J-
horrible.
Rachel, tell me the diagnosis one more time.
A functional neurological disorder.
Functional neurological disorder. I want to put it in the title in case there's anyone else who's been diagnosed with that who can
Yeah.
find it, and they can just hear your story.
Okay.
Is there any have you met anyone else who's ever been diagnosed with this?
Yeah, actually, The BBC, when we found out that I was going to the games, the BBC ended up doing an article. They put together like a video piece. So loads of people got in contact with myself. There's quite a few people within Inverness that have got functional neurological disorder. There's also one of the coaches at my gym, his partner Alana. I found out she's actually got it too. So I think there's quite a lot of people within the UK that seem to have it. A lot of people don't speak about it and keep it under wraps. But yeah, hopefully by actually being open and speaking a bit more about it, it'll help other people and let them know that exercise is pretty important. Oh
Well,
gosh.
is this the filming when they were there?
Yeah, yeah, they were with me for about a day and a half, which was interesting. It was great fun. We went back to my house and they were filming when my kids and stuff were, I don't know, getting stuff done. And my kids, obviously being my kids, they're a bit hyper. They're really, really good fun. It was a really a warm summer's day, so it was like 15 degrees. So we were like, yeah, outside with the water pistols. And then, of course, my son Hamish was having great fun with the cameraman, ended up soaking the camera, soaked the cameraman head to toe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, no, no. So I'll never forget it, ever.
And something you talk about on your Instagram is that you were very private about it, and then at some point it clicked for you, and you decided you didn't need to be private about it anymore. That sounds about right, right? You're a 19-year-old girl at 19. We're all self-conscious. We're all trying to present ourselves to the world to look our best and be our best. And then this happens to you. Can you tell me about that journey until where you finally, I guess maybe there was some sort of acceptance?
Oh, that's quite a hard one. And there's lots of stuff that I probably won't say on here. So like from when I was 19, obviously you're quite young and you want to make an impression and all the rest of it. Just being a bit naive and a bit vain. So I never wanted people to know like the ins and outs of what happened. So if things were going wrong, I'd pretty much go into hiding. I'd go either back to my parents or to one of my really good friends' house, and I would just wait it out. I'd be in the gym. I'd be constantly training. And just yeah, I think things got to a certain point. I must have been about 21, 22, and I'd been better for about a year. Not much had been happening. I was working in the oil and gas industry and thought, you know what, enough's enough. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I need to actually go and live my life because I don't know when things are going to go tits up basically. So I ended up going off to Switzerland and became a ski guide out there, and that was cool. It was so much fun. My intention was to go out, be single for like 6 months, and just have the best time. And I did that. But things also happened whilst I was out there, and I remember just being like, I can't let all of these people who've got like such a high expectation of me to see like what actually goes on behind the scenes. So I'd end up like going away off into myself. And it probably took until about 3 years ago. I'd separated from the kids' dads. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I was in the hospital and I kind of looked at my life and the way that things were. And I thought, I'm just not happy. I don't want my kids to see their mum being like her happiest version of herself. So I took the decision. I was like, look, I'm really sorry, but things need to step away. And at that point, I was paralyzed completely from the waist down. And I was like, something needs to change here. So I started speaking to a few other people with FND. And I was like, nobody actually speaks about what's going on. If things are happening, we just lock ourselves away, pretend everything's normal. I'm like, that's not healthy. That's not a good way to deal with it. So I started speaking to more and more people. And then eventually, by getting involved with the gym, folk were like, you should actually video yourself when, not maybe not so much like when things are going wrong, because I'm really not very comfortable with that. But when you're like training and when you're trying to get yourself better, just so you can actually show people, look, this is what happens, but this is some of the things that we do to try and make it a little bit better, and this is kind of the outcome. Yeah, and don't know, people kind of caught on from there, yeah, things like that. Because I remember the BBC, they were like, why don't you have any footage of you from like when you're in hospital or when you've done this? Is like, because I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't really want people seeing me at my absolute worst. It's one of these things that's happened, and I'm okay to speak about it now, but still, it's not nice. And I kind of watching these videos and stuff, I get a bit sad. It's not nice.
So it's interesting. You went from it's you went into a giving mode, into a service mode. You realize that like, hey, I need to go from I've been worried about myself for all these years. Let me flip the script on it and give. And has that felt better? Do you think that that was the right choice to be like, okay, I mean, this is obviously seems like it's a little more selfless. Okay, there's other people out there who are going through this. I'm going to show them this is how I'm handling it, and so there's a bit of like you're giving.
Yeah, I think from like day one when it first happened, they put me into hospital and I was in a stroke ward. So there was people that were like dying left, right, and center, and I was sat there, and obviously half of me wasn't working, but I was like, I don't feel ill. I just can't move half my body. I feel completely fine within myself, and I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I was so annoyed. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm in hospital. They should put me home. Blah 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 blah. And then like since then, I've always had that in the back of my head. I'm like, there's always somebody worse off. I'll always get better. Well, hopefully always get better. And then through like speaking to other people, you realize that there's so many other people that just need somebody to speak to. Because quite a lot of folk, they don't realize like the impact exercise has, the impact like good food has, the impact just properly taking care of yourself has got such a huge benefit on conditions like this, because you can go off and you can eat an absolutely terrible diet. But I know for a fact if I eat rubbish food, I will feel it for a good few days after. Whereas if I eat pretty much clean food, like good meat, good vegetables, loads of nuts, I'm quite boring with the way I eat, but I know that it keeps me okay for a few days. My pain's a lot less. The spasms still happen and stuff like that, but I'm nowhere near as much pain as what I would be without the food. So no, it's really important to be able to share all of that information with other people, I think, because I think, especially being a mom, if you can help one other person, and I want my kids to grow up to know that as well, hopefully they'll go out and be able to help other people as well, because there's always somebody that's worse off than yourself.
And tell me about how CrossFit entered the picture.
Okay, so I'd been in the wheelchair for about 6 months, and I'd managed to get myself up into a stage where I could walk. And I
Really quick, Rachel, how old were you, and was that the longest stint you had ever done in a wheelchair?
No, the longest stint was about a year and a half. And
Okay,
that was when I was 19. So this was 3 years ago, so I would have been
31.
31, yeah,
Okay.
on a little bit now. But yeah, I was 31 and I'd been in the wheelchair for 6 months, and I was like, do you know what, I need to just get involved with people, because I was kind of at my mom's apartment, get myself better from there. And we had this little bike that I would sit on, and it was like a motorized bike, and it would just keep my legs going. And I was like, right, I'll get into a gym and try. I think the worst thing about being in the wheelchair was the muscle wastage associated with it, because when you do try and stand up, all your muscles waste away completely. So I walked into this gym in Inverness, and I was like,
You
right,
walked in.
I walked in. So this is by the stage I was able to walk. And so
Okay.
this was after the 6 months in the wheelchair. So I walked in and I was chat away. I was like, this is what happens to me. And then they're like, okay, let's come sign the forms to get you signed up. We're just up these stairs here. And I kind of looked and I'm like, I can't walk upstairs. Like, I couldn't lift my feet high enough to walk upstairs. So I ended up like pretty much doing a ring every single time. I was pushing myself up them stairs, got up, signed the forms. And I stuck with that gym for almost a year, and they were really lovely people. But I kind of got my fitness up to a certain level, and somebody had mentioned CrossFit. They're like, oh, it's so good for absolutely everything, and like all aspects of your body, your mind, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool, I'll go check that out. And I went over and did a trial and just totally fell in love. I was absolutely dying. I remember just lying on the floor after just my first workout and like, what has happened to me? But it was so much fun. And then I just got a bit addicted to it, really. Yeah, and just carried on from there. I thought, sacked the other gym, signed up with the CrossFit, and that's really that.
Hey, when you're 6 months in the wheelchair, how do you know when you wake up one morning, oh, this is the morning I can actually get out of it? Do you try every single day
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. It's a constant. Like every single day, I would get myself up. I was like quite strict with my routine. So I would always make sure I'd get up for a certain time, make sure I made my bed, because I think like that's super important. If you make your bed, the rest of the day is going to go okay. Get up, put myself onto the electric like spinner thing, and I would just strap my feet in with the hope that by circling the moments, then the nerves are going to kind of wake up and get back to normal. So that was like 6 months of pretty much doing that, just doing loads of physio exercises, mimicking movements with my legs to try and get them to wake up. But you never really know when it's going to come back. I remember with my legs, you could feel little parts of it started to be able to feel them. And it would come back like slowly, and then the next day it could be a little bit better, or it would go back to square one. So it was quite a slow process for that. But some other times, though, if my legs have gone, they literally will. I'll get really tired for a few days before my legs will go, and then I'll just be like, oh, I can feel my legs now. That's then back to normal, and it's just like somebody's flicked a switch. So completely, it's really varied.
It's a trip because we'll use Kevin as an example. And you know, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming that when your legs stop working, there's days or hours or weeks where you're sitting in a chair,
Mhm.
especially once if you had use of your legs, and you're like, move, move, and you're trying to connect to them, right? And you're trying to go there,
Yeah,
and you just can't, and you just can't. And I guess the only way people who are ambulatory could sort of mimic that or see what that would be like is like, when you go to bed at night, you can, or anytime if you sit still, you can take your awareness to your heart. So most people probably go their whole life and never take their awareness to their heart. But if
yeah,
you spend a few minutes, you can take your awareness to your heart, and you can be in your heart, and you can actually feel the beating, right? And
yeah,
you can hear it. But what you're saying is you'll wake up one morning and you can't take your awareness to your legs.
yeah. And you just
And so
can't
that's
communicate with them.
I remember in college, doing mushrooms or acid, and you're 6 hours into the trip, and you're like, someone has to tell you, "Don't worry, it's gonna be over." You're like, "Fuck, this is a lot. This is exhausting. This is a lot." But so is it like that too during those, month 4, and you still can't feel your legs, and you're like, "Man, this is like a bad acid trip. This is like what's going on here?"
Yeah, well, I've never taken acid personally.
Okay.
Sorry, I've never taken
But
acid,
but but
but
but but you can kind
no,
of
it's.
relate to
I
that, right? It's
completely
just
relate
like
to
the
it.
torment that you're just like, "Hey, this is a lot. This is heavy."
Yeah,
Um
because you sit there and you're like, just move, like just move, just wake up. And I remember being in the hospital in the time where I'd lost both my legs, and I just got a new set of touring skis the night before, and I was sat there, and all the snow was falling on the hills, and I could see it, and I'm like, I'm trying not to swear here. Sorry, I'm Scottish. I'm trying my
No,
absolute
that's
best.
okay.
I
Swearing's
just,
fine on here.
okay, thank you. And I was, oh, for fuck's sake, like I was absolutely raging. I'm like, just move. Like that's all we need to do is just move. I can get out of this hospital. I can see my kids, and it's just the most frustrating thing because it's as if when you get your face numbed by the dentist. It's as if
Yeah.
that, and you're just like, come on, like just do something because I know normally they can work, and you're just saying it's really, really difficult not to get yourself into a bad headspace because, especially after a couple of weeks, if it hasn't passed, you're just like, this is ridiculous, and then you get a lot of bad thoughts, especially if they're thinking about putting you back into hospital or if it's going to be like, I don't know. The worst thing is when it's been like a good few months because of the muscle wastage, then it's so much harder to recover from. It's just, yeah, frustrating as anything, especially it seems like things can go really, really well, like training and all the rest of it. And then you just get wham and your body just decides to be a bit of a dick and shut down and it's not cool.
What's Rachel? What's the shortest it's ever been? Have you ever lost them for a day and then they come back the next day?
So I think one of the shortest episodes I've had is probably for like 2, 3 minutes. And it was not nice. I've been on the phone to my mum and I was like, chat, 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 all the rest. I hung up the phone and I was lying in my bed. And it was as if, I don't know, my whole body had shut down. So I couldn't speak, I couldn't move anything. Both my arms had gone, my legs had gone. So it was as if I was like dead. I was trapped inside my body and just nothing was moving whatsoever. Um, yeah, that was horrible. So that was about 2, 3 minutes that lasted for, and I'm so glad it was only for that 2, 3 minutes because it was, yeah, really not nice. Um, yeah,
Hey, have they ever do? Can they do any scans where they see? I'm just making this shit up. I don't even know what I'm saying here, but
okay.
where they can do any scans where they can see like the communication from your brain to your body, like some sort of like electrical scan, or where they can be like, yeah, there's no. Is there anything objective where they can see, yeah, there's no communication from your brain to your legs? Is there any like diagnostic test?
Yeah, so I think they've ran some of them tests on me before. Must have been about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. Like previously when this first happened, they would just do like a simple MRI and be like, can't really see anything. That's like there. I know I've got a lesion in my brain, but I don't think that's anything significant. But now they've managed to run tests and do all of that sort of stuff as well.
And can they see it? Can they be like, yeah, we can see that there's a lack of communication, or is it just like they can see it?
Yeah, and they could do like different nerve conduction tests and things like that. Yeah,
Nerve conduction. Okay, maybe that's the word I was looking for. That sounds good.
it's a cool word, isn't it? Nerve
Yeah.
conduction.
Oh, okay. So you go into this gym, and when you go into this gym, this CrossFit gym, can they tell right away, or were you perfectly okay at the time?
No, I was okay at the time. I did obviously explain to them. I was like, look, some days I'm pretty much fine. Other days I'll go in and I'm like, guys, I can't feel my hands just now. I've told them obviously about my feet. So things like box jumps and double unders as well, they terrify the life out of me because I can't feel my feet. So I'm like, I've got no idea where I'm jumping to, got no idea like what's going on. But the coaches and everything's all pretty good. But I don't want to be one of them people who's like, right, today this is what's the matter with me, and this is happening, and this is happening. So Donnie will just kind of look at me and be like, is everything okay? I'm like, I'm just Rachel today. So he'll just be like, okay, that's fine. And then we just work everything out and just have a quieter word at the side.
And you go in there, and what are some of the first things you notice? Do you notice your body going through some composition changes and adaptation really quickly as you put it under this stress?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I really noticed was like that you can get yourself into an absolute pain hole and be absolutely fine at the other end of it. And it was just probably one of the best feelings. I know it's quite a weird thing to say, but I'm like, this is so cool. My body can cope with this. And then things started happening. So like muscles started building and my body shape changed completely. So I'm an I used to do ballet dancing when I was younger, a lot younger. So I've always been like super, super skinny, blah, 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 blah. Probably not very healthy. Whereas now I think I'm a lot healthier. I look like I'm not a stick anymore, which is great. So I quite like it for that sense of things as well.
In 2022, was that the first year you went into the CrossFit gym?
Yes, it was 2022. Sorry, I had to work that out there.
And so 2 years later, here you are, and you're going to San Antonio to compete.
Yeah, it's mad. Absolutely mad. We weren't expecting to qualify whatsoever. We thought we'll sign up for the Wee World Games. We'll, yeah, just go hope for the best, see what happens with the workouts. And I remember in the open in 24.3, I'd lost the use of my legs on the Monday. They came back late at night on the Wednesday. I did the workout on the Friday. I came into the gym, it was on the Thursday, and I just practiced standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down, and just gentle movement to try and like re-spark everything back up. And then we did the workout, we did it scale because I was like, we're just going to try our best and see what happens. And I remember standing there and I had to use a box to get up onto the bar to do my pull ups. And I had to like lift each leg up to like put them onto the box to be able to hold on, to be able to do it. And I was just like so absolutely buzzing that I managed to get the workout. I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to try to do it scaled. So I set up I've got a pull up bar. It's too short for me though. And set that up outside my garage at home. And I was like, oh, fuck it, just do the RX version and see how we get on. I did it. It was disgusting. It was terrible. At that point, couldn't do pull ups. I don't know if you've seen, there's a video of me attempting to do a pull up and I'm literally just like climbing up the bar. It's quite embarrassing, but I'm so proud of it though, which I know a lot of people will be like, oh, that's ridiculous. Why is she happy with that? But at that point, I'd never managed to get the chest to the bar. So I just worked and worked and worked. And yeah, that was quite cool. So that was the open. It was just, yeah, that's the one.
So even when you go compete on the 19th,
Yeah.
you don't know, when you wake up that morning, you don't know who's going to show up.
No, exactly. So I've just been saying to myself, I'm like, everybody else can go off and do whatever they do. I don't actually worry whatsoever about the other athletes in my division. I know physically some of them are a lot stronger than me because, like I said, we weren't expecting to qualify whatsoever, but we've worked our ass off to kind of get to this stage now. So I'm just going to go out there and just do my best by me for that day because that's all I can do. I can only do as my body allows me. And if it allows me to do really well, then that's absolutely amazing. If it doesn't allow me to do quite as well, as long as I know like within myself that I've done my absolute hardest and tried my absolute best for how I am, I'm going to be so happy with that. So happy.
And is that acceptance easy, or is it you constantly have to work on it?
No, it's not easy whatsoever. I normally set aside like 20 minutes every week just to catastrophize. It's like my catastrophizing time. And I've got like all these horrible thoughts that go through my head. And I'm like, this might happen, this might happen, this might happen. And then I'm like, at the end of all of these sessions, I'm all like, Rachel, calm down because all you can do is as your body allows. Like, look at where I was 3 years ago compared to now, or look at where I was even a couple of months ago compared to now. Is that like they changed strength wise, the changed like within my mentality, the change within so much stuff within the space of just a couple of months has been amazing. So like even my coaches are like, right, Rachel, this year just go out, have fun, just experience it, do as best as you can for this year for that day. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. And then they're like, then next year, we're just going to go for it. And we've got the full year planned. And I'm so excited to get stuck back into training. It's going to be so strange, though, finishing this and having to like ramp everything down and not train as much, not train as hard. Just, I don't know how that's what I'm quite worried about. I think the games themselves will be fine. But like the come down after it, I'm a bit like, how is my body going to cope with this? I've got a strong feeling that I'm probably going to end up back with something going wrong. But I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. That's all I can say for that.
You said in 2021, you had the 6-month stint in the wheelchair. Then you went into this gym that was upstairs.
Yeah.
Then you transferred to a CrossFit gym. Have you had any other? Is that the longest stint you've had with some sort of paralysis in the last 2 or 3 years?
That was the longest stint, yeah. I think this most recent, like long, well, one that I would class as long would have been about 5, 6 weeks. That was last year. And then this year, I think I've been in the wheelchair for like 2 or 3 times. It's only been a couple of days here and there. I think mostly this year, what's been happening with me is I'm losing my vision quite a lot in my left eye. So like I was in the gym the other day and everyone was looking there like, are you okay, Rachel? I'm like, yeah, I can't see out my eye though. It's, yeah, just feeling a bit strange. It's completely black over this side and it's not great. But I had push presses to do, so I was like, right, fuck it. Just close my eyes, get on the bar. Just as long as my eyes are closed, my balance is kind of okay. So I was like, just carry on working out and it'll be absolutely fine. So like things like my vision going and like just the sensory sort of stuff as well. So like my fingers, I can't really feel them. My feet obviously can't feel them. It feels like there's constantly ants, like electric ants running up and down my body as well. So things like that's just yeah affecting me quite a lot. It's the things that you can't see.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the longest since you've been 19 years old? Is this the best you've been, you think? This is the longest run you've had? The healthiest
Uh,
run since you started CrossFit?
the longest run since what? Sorry.
Sorry, when you were 19, which would be 14 years ago, which would be 2009 or 2010. Is this the longest run you've had from 2022 to 2024 since you've started CrossFit? Is this the best run you've ever had since you were diagnosed?
The best run of like, well,
Meaning with the least flare-ups, I guess.
kind of. So flare ups is in like paralysis, yes. With other stuff, no. So like my vision goes a lot, my speech goes a lot.
Oh, your speech too.
Yeah, so quite often I'll sound like I'm drunk and I sound like I've been drinking, and I very rarely, if I do drink, you'll probably know about it. Yeah, I don't drink an awful lot. Um, yeah, so my speech goes quite a bit, and just little things like little parts of me, like the spasms and the seizures and stuff like that. That's what gets me most at night times, especially. So if I've had like quite a hard day's training, and then I'll go home and I'm okay until I like go through all my relaxation stuff, and then it's as if my body something just takes over and it goes into like massive jerks and spasms, and it's really really painful. So that's most nights. But CrossFit's definitely helped with all the other aspects of keeping like the paralysis at bay and actually making sure that I can keep getting up and keep moving as well. So I genuinely think it's made a difference to like shortening the length of the paralysis. Um, but obviously, there's a lot of other stuff that goes on behind the scenes with me as well.
It's such a trip that yours is so unknown, right? As opposed to like if you were missing a hand or if you lost an eye. Yours is it's like the mysteriousness of it and the coming and going of it. I just it's hard for me to even get my head wrapped around, right? It's like to other people it doesn't even seem real, but to you it's like, yeah, not only does it seem real, it is real.
Yeah, that's 100% it. We were sitting for lunch yesterday with Henry, and he's obviously got part of his arm missing. And they're like, it's so like the standing diagnose category. Everybody's like, so what's the matter with you? What's going on with you? And Henry's like, well, I don't really have that issue because this is what's going on with me. I've just got this. They can like clearly see it, but with us lot, you can't really see what's going on unless like obviously I'm in a wheelchair. You can see that. But yeah, that's like the only time you can actually see things that are going on.
When I was in the 7th grade, I had some like weird ankle pain. Every time I started, like I would start to run, my ankle would give out, and it was bad, and it always hurt. And so I told my mom, I said, "Hey, I need to go to the doctor. I need to have this looked at." So I go to the doctor, and they can't find anything. and it had been going on for about 2 years. Now in hindsight, I'm guessing it was just growing pains or something,
Awesome.
um, even though I never grew. Um, but, and I remember the doctor, asking me to step out of the room, and then I got in the car with my mom, and my mom was pretty angry when she came out, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up? What'd he say to you?" And, when I was 3, my parents got a divorce, and the doctor's like, "Hey, it's, your son's basically just making it up, for attention because you got a divorce."
Oh my gosh.
And it was pretty, uh, um pretty bizarre. I mean, I don't know. I to this day, I think it was pretty bizarre, right? And,
Yeah.
so has anyone ever accused you just of making it up? Like, has anyone ever told you, "Hey, it's just psychological," or it's not true," or has anyone ever told you it's not like you're just making it up? It's
No.
psychosomatic, or like you'll hear people say that about back pain. "Hey, it's all in your head."
Yeah. No, not really, because I think those that know me see me kind of in and out on a day-to-day basis. I keep like my circle's quite close.
But I mean, even doctors, like, did they ever try to tell
They,
you that?
yeah. So not so much that oh you're making it up, but one of them they ended up putting me to like a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
Um. So and they were like, yeah, so you've got like underlying trauma that you need to deal with, blah 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 blah. This might be one of the things that's tripping the like nervous system. So
Right.
yeah, I did that because I was like, I'm going to go and obviously have a chat with these people and see what they've got to say because I'm like, at this point, anything, I'll pretty much try anything
Right.
for medication. I don't really like medication because it makes you feel funny. But I did, and I went and had a chat, and it did it undercovered quite a lot of things that I'd never really spoken about or I'd never really thought about, and things that happened. And they're like, when you've gone through these situations, when things have been like really, really stressful, has it ever triggered anything? I was like, I don't know if it's a direct response, but it could have done. Like, it could have done, but at the same time, also viruses do it. Like, if
Right.
I'm sick, like if I've got sore throat, if I'm actually got a sickness bug, that'll obviously have an effect on it as well. So they have told me like there could be a psychological side of things, but it's through a trauma response, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but you think that but you're certain that it's something physiological too, or like chemical or physiological. You're not like, hey, it's not like I have this memory from my childhood and everything fucking turns
Oh
off.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in the gym, and even up until like you're still setting PRs now. Like you're not like when we think of CrossFit Games athletes, we think of them showing up to the games in their peak performance. And from looking at your Instagram, it's not like that for you. Like even in these last 6 months, you're making huge gains, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, like we weren't expecting to make it through to the actual games whatsoever. And I think there's quite a few of us in my category that are in the same boat. We're like, oh gosh, we weren't expecting it. But at least we now know what we're capable of and how things have moved in the past couple of months. It's so exciting to actually be able to see that. We're like, look, if this can happen in just like a few months, imagine what can happen. Like this time next year is going to be totally different. So yeah, we're obviously not at our absolute peak just now, and I'm kind of at peace with that because I know the situation that I'm in. But I'm really excited to see what the future's got to hold and see like how my body reacts to everything and to see like what we can actually do. It's going to be quite cool.
What do you squat? Like, can you squat 100 pounds?
£100. What's that in kilos? Sorry, I need
Uh,
to Google that.
I think it's like, let's say it's like 40 kilos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can squat. I think about 82 at the moment.
Okay, so like 200 pounds.
Yeah,
And so you'll go into the rack, unsquat 80 kilos, put it on your back, and you'll squat it.
yeah. If my legs are working, yeah. But like if they're not working very well, then obviously I would take the weight right down. Maybe even not use a barbell and just mimic the movement.
Right,
Um,
just do air squats.
yeah, but it's taken a long, like probably only the past couple of months. Is the weights and everything have just gone right up. It's been amazing to actually see the change in everything. Previously, I wouldn't have been able to do that, no way. But now we've done a lot of work, an awful lot of work on the strength side of things.
Yeah, what a trip that you could go from not walking to squatting 200 pounds.
£200 sounds so much cooler than like 80 kilos.
Yeah, okay, Jeffrey Birchfield, 176 pounds. That's nuts, man. That
Yeah.
is nuts. And how old were you when you got your very first pull-up, Rachel?
34.
34. So
Yeah,
this
so
year
like,
this year's your first year you ever got a pull-up,
yeah.
and now you have a chest to bar pull-up.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, everything's kind of. I just think it's absolutely crazy how we've gone from not very great to getting quite good, and then next year hopefully it's going to be like up here. It's going to be pretty cool. But
And is a bar muscle up in your future?
oh yeah, definitely, I can see that happening. I don't know if it's here right yet. I think adrenaline conditions, things like that, then yeah, I think I'll be able to do it. It's just the case with me, quite a lot of the stuff is like the cognitive function. So I've been able to like dial in the movement. Once I've got the movement pattern, then it's okay. So it's just a case of getting that kind of clicked and locked in, and then we'll open that up and it'll be fine.
So concentrating the muscle recruitment pattern in the right order to do certain things.
Yeah, yeah. So I think if I concentrate on it too much, it'll probably send me in like overdrive. But if I have it already like locked in, then hopefully it'll just go and it'll be fine.
And the snatch and the clean and jerk, those are movements you've learned.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. And you when I want to go back to when you said you took the COVID vaccine. Do you know which brand you took?
No, not a clue.
And did you have any idea that if you took it, it might cause you a flare up?
I wasn't sure, but it was like in the middle of the pandemic, and I was like, look, I don't know, you're kind of, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but you
Yeah,
have
brainwashed is fair. Brainwashed is fair.
yeah, you have all of this like information coming at you left, right, and center, and you're just like, I don't really know what to do in this situation, what's the right thing. So I was like, oh, I'll take it, and then hopefully it's like some form of protection because we don't know how bad things actually are going to be. And then a few days after, that was me into the wheelchair. So I'm like, I don't know if it's a direct response, but it was too close for me to call. So I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Definitely not.
And how long were you in the wheelchair after that?
That was for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a huge stint, but I don't like being back like that. I like to be up and about doing things. And at that point, my kids were pretty small as well. So I think it was a lot more difficult in the wheelchair when the kids were little. But, yeah.
Do you take anything? Like, do you take like vitamin C or do you take magnesium or is there anything that you take that you like kind of swear by or that you think is like,
CBD oil. I have like CBD oil and CBD gummies as well. I think they help massively, especially if I'm like quite bad spasms and stuff. I try not to take any like strong pharmaceuticals, but if, say for instance, like my back's completely locked up, sometimes my shoulder will get stuck and it's up like this. And if it is like that, I'll end up taking diazepam, but I really don't like taking it because it just makes you feel horrible. Yeah.
what does that do? Did you say lorazepam or
No, diazepam.
diazepam?
Yeah, so that's like a muscle relaxant.
And that's like only if like shit hits the fan, if shit's really bad.
If it's like if I'm in like so much pain and if it's been stuck for ages and ages, I'm like, nah. But it takes my physio's always like, Rachel, just take the medication. I'm like, no, I don't want to because it makes me I was like, I would rather put up with pain and just hope that it passes. But then sometimes it does get to a certain point that you're like, I've just got to take it. And yeah, when
Hey,
it starts affecting your like day to day movement and day to well not movement because that's affected all the time, but day to day kind of life and being able to do stuff, then I'm like, I need to actually take medication now. But I try my hardest not to.
how about ice baths or saunas? Do you do any of that?
Yeah, I've got an ice bath. So I go in the ice bath nearly every morning. I hate it though. And like all these people who go in the ice bath and love it, I just think, no, not at all. It's not for
That the
me.
ice bath in the morning won't cause you to lock up at all or get seize up or get
It,
stiff or
do you know what it does? Like I go in the ice bath and because things with me are obviously to do with my nerves, it feels like every single nerve in my body is just gone on fire. And it's in like so much pain for like 4 or 5 minutes when I'm sat in there. And I'm like, you just got to breathe it through and it'll be fine. And then I get out, get warmed up and all the rest of it. And then it's like 4 or 5 hours with no pain. And it's I can't even describe it. And at the time it's absolutely horrendous. It's I don't like ice baths. I don't think they're nice things. I think they're like a form of torture. It's horrible. But for 4 or 5 hours after, I feel so good and like my pain and everything is so much better. So I
oh,
definitely
interesting.
makes a huge difference. And then like saunas, I use the saunas all the time just because I like to feel warm. That's why it's quite nice across here just to feel warm. It's good.
Yeah, I would think that the sauna would be just absolutely amazing to get just really, really hot and really, really loose.
Yeah, and especially like on my back, it's just so nice. And I just sit and stretch out in the sauna and just chill for as long as I possibly can. It's quite nice.
Hey, the back stuff, has that always been there, or is that new since you turned 19?
That's new since I've turned 19. Problem like the back and the spasms didn't start happening until about 2 years ago. So that's newish sort of thing with me. Um, yeah, so they're not very nice. They're quite painful, especially like flying over here on the long haul flight. That was just awful. Like, I was in so much pain, so I was just pacing up and down the flight pretty much all the time. But it is what it is.
How many people in your division?
There's 10 people in the division.
So it's stacked. It's full.
It's full, yeah.
And do you know any of them?
No, but we've all been speaking together online. It's been quite nice. We've got like a wee group chat as well, just questioning pretty much so much different things and just chatting as well. But everybody seems like they're quite nice. I've got to know quite a few of their stories as well and about their backgrounds too. And yeah, they seem like a good bunch of people.
So, is there anyone in your division who has the same diagnosis as you? The uh, functional neurological disorder? Or no, that's the division. The diagnosis is, don't tell me. Um, uh, oh no, it is functional neurological disorder. That's the diagnosis, right? And the division is standing diagnosed.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So no, there's nobody in my division with functional neurological disorder, but there's Faith Fordham. She's got function like FND, we call it for short. She's got it as well. She's in one of the neuro categories. So yeah, I don't know.
Is the lady, there was a lady on my show named Kim who is blind. Is she in your division?
No, she'll be in the vision division.
Oh, they actually have a blind, there's actually a can't see division.
Yeah.
Holy shit. God, that it must be, I wish I was going. That's amazing.
You should just jump on a flight and come down here. I think it's going to be so cool to see everybody, and like there's just so many incredible athletes out there as well. Which is to watch them is going to be amazing.
When is your you must have an orientation coming up. Your orientation, I'm guessing, is on Thursday?
Wednesday.
And the actual event starts on Friday?
No, Thursday morning.
And you know the workouts now?
Know the workouts. Quite excited for them. It's going to be good.
And when you say you're excited for them, what makes you excited for them? You saw them and you're like, okay, I can do these?
Some of them I'm not 100% sure that I'm actually going to get that far in, but the ones that I can do, I'm quite confident about them. So yeah, it's going to be good fun.
And how many workouts are there?
7 in total.
And does it seem like a lot to you, or has your training prepared you for this?
I think my training's prepared me for this. Yeah, we've built it up really, really nicely, and now we're just obviously on a taper and a deload at the moment. But yeah, training's kind of gone hand in hand with this, and I'm quite happy with everything that we've done as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
Do you know the ages of the people in your categories? Do you know who the youngest and who the oldest is?
I actually don't have a clue. I
Okay.
haven't asked them yet. I haven't looked into that.
So there might be someone who's 19 and there might be someone who's 45.
There could be, yeah. And then I'd be like mid-range, so that's quite cool.
Yeah. Hey, when you first go to this CrossFit gym, are they receptive to the fact that and are they able to work with you easily, even with your diagnosis? And did you have concerns with that?
Well, do you know what? No, they've actually been really good. Like everything that's happened to me. I normally always message my coach Donnie like the night before, being like, "Look, this is what's going on." I don't really want to have to say it at the whiteboard chat in front of everybody. He's like, just to make you aware. So he's like, "Cool, this is what we're going to do." And he obviously does his research behind the scenes and goes bang, 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 and just kind of modifies everything as we need it to be. Some days I can be doing pretty much what everybody else is doing. Then other days, obviously, we'll have to tailor and adapt things just depending on the day. But no, they're really, really good, and they're done like loads of research into everything as well. So it's good. I feel like I'm in safe hands, which is quite nice.
Yeah, because just like it's new for you, it's new for them, right? Like you're a new, I mean, you're still a human obviously, but you're a new creature for them with a new situation, and they have to figure it out. And it's cool. I'm always so impressed with how great all the CrossFit gyms are out there and the affiliates and how they work with all the different people. But I'm also like, yeah, of course they can do it. Of course they can do it.
I don't know. I think it's like Donnie. He's obviously got myself, who I chop and change absolutely all the time, and then we've got a new athlete that's came in, Nora. She's only got one of her hands as well. She's been amputated as well. So he, like him and all of the coach, they've got such a good awareness about different things that go on with different people, and they've got such a good kind of like mindset to be like, right, you might not be able to do this yet, but we can change it, and then eventually we're going to get you to do something that's extremely similar to that. And they're really, really good and really open with everything like that. So it's a good box set in that. They're really, really nice.
When you started the open this year, I think did you say that you did not it wasn't your goal to go to the games and you kind of stumbled upon it?
Yeah, I did the open. I was like, we're gonna go do the workouts and have some fun and just see where it plays, because it's not often that you get to be in a situation where you're working out against people that have conditions similar to yourself. So I was like, right, it'll be quite cool to see how I stack up against all of these other people. And yeah, I just went from there really. Just when I was like, we're just going to go hope for the best and see where we place. And we did okay. So I'm quite happy with that.
Is that why you did the open, Rachel? You wanted to see like obviously you're in the class and you can see how you do with your classmates, but is that why you did it originally? You're like, okay, let me see how I fare against these people.
Yeah.
And with no, did you have aspirations to go to the games as the open got closer, as it came down to the last workout? Did you look at the scoreboard and were you like, oh shit, I might go?
Yeah. I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually a chance that I might be able to do this, which I don't know. It was a bit, I was like, how is this actually possible? So I was like, right, if we do this, this, this. So, like, obviously, I'd lost the use of my legs on the Monday, did the workout scaled, and then I was like, I know if I'm well, if I do this workout scaled, they're going to drop my score right the way down. So I was like, fuck it, just go for RX, try it, see what happens. And then that was enough to get us through to the semi finals. And then did them again from the gym with a lot of help from the guys in my gym. And we sat there. I remember looking at the leaderboard, and I was sitting in 11th place on the Saturday before they actually announced the workouts, and I'm like, oh, I haven't made it. And I hadn't been for like a night out or done much with my friends for quite a while. So there was a festival on in Inverness. So I went out, had the best night of my life, danced all night, and it was so much fun. And then on the Monday, my friend phoned me, and she was like, "Oh, congratulations, Rachel." I was like, "Oh gosh, what was I up to at the weekend now?" And she was like, "Oh no, you've made it through. You're going to the games." I was like, "No way, actually, no way." I didn't expect it whatsoever, because I'd gone off and had this almighty night out. I had so much fun, just because I'm like, I haven't made it through. I know I've tried my best, blah 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 blah. And then I found out I've got through, and we just like put our head to the ground pretty much and just focus so much on training, so much on nutrition, so much on mindset, and we're like, right, this is happening, so we're just going to go and do it and just have a load of fun with it as well.
What was the movement that you were considering scaling that you decided, well, I better not scale or else it'll affect my score?
The pull-ups.
Oh, the pull-ups, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I think it was pull-ups and thrusters. And yeah, I know from well that pull-ups, they're not really my strongest thing whatsoever. And I did initially the scaled version of it. I managed to get the pull-ups, and the thrusters I managed to do at the RX weight. So the second weight for the thrusters was the starting weight for the RX. One, so I was like, whoa, if I've managed to do this and I'm just out of my wheelchair, and I know from all that I can handle that weight for the thrusters, I was like, all I've got to do, even if I get one chest to bar pull up, then that's enough for me to get through. So that's why you see me like literally climbing the bar for sheer life. I was like, I'm not giving up, absolutely no way.
Was that the actual workout in that video?
Yeah, that was the actual workout. And at that point, I think my neighbours, who are about 80 years old, a minister and his wife, had came past in their car, like, "Oh, Rachel, what are you up today? Blah 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 blah." And I'm just like, "Shut up and let me do this. I need to concentrate."
Oh, so you're in the middle of your workout and your neighbors are trying to talk to you.
I know, my neighbours kept coming past and talking to me. I'm like, "Go away."
Wow, crazy. Is that your first chest to bar pull-up ever?
Yeah.
In
And
the
in that
in
one.
the in the open, that was the first. Oh, that one or the one you, so you had
No,
already
in
done
the
a couple.
open was the first ever ones.
The first that, wow.
It's so bad. Like looking back on it, I'm just like, oh, but I'm actually really glad that I recorded that, because it shows the effort, like sheer effort that went into that.
Are you alone there, or do you have, is your a coach there? Why are you doing the open at your house?
Oh, there, because the gym was closed, and I just kind of got it in my head that, oh, I've only got a certain amount of time if I actually want to be able to do this. So I was like, right, take everything out into the driveway and just get it done from there.
Yeah, it does look, by the way, it does look like you're going to get a bar muscle up soon.
I hope so. It'd be so cool.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, so your neighbors think you're crazy.
A little bit, yeah. I've got like one of my neighbors, she's 91, the other two, they're like 80 something. And then they're always see like me and my kids like running up and down the street doing shuttle runs or like big weights behind our backs. And they're always like, oh, Rachel, I heard you last night in your garage. You were obviously lifting something very heavy. And there was lots of swearing coming from there. I was like, oh, sorry, guys.
Hey, every time you get in your wheelchair, you must get a whole new cohort of people who ask you what happened,
All the time.
right? So it's never like, "Hey, she's the girl in the wheelchair." It's like, "Oh, what happened to you?"
And I think that's part of the reason why before I didn't really want to come out and about or let much people see me the way I was, because you're having to have the same conversation over and over and over again. And like, I don't
Right.
want that to like define me. Like, obviously, it's something that happens. It's not great. It's not fun. But I like, yeah, having to have a conversation over and over again, it's just a nightmare.
Because if they see you outside doing this,
I know.
and then the next day you're wheeling out in your wheelchair, they're gonna assume you got hit by a car or you fell down or something
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
quite, do you know what, in fairness to them, they're all lovely and they're actually so good. So if I ever need anything, or like if the kids, I've got 50-50 with their dad, so they're with me for 1 week with their dad for the next week. So if it's like a week that I don't have my kids there to run out and grab the wheelchair and I'm stuck in my bed, I'll just phone one of them, be like, look guys, this has happened again. Can you just grab my wheelchair for me? And then I've also got like how do you call it? Like airbag sort of things, like a really cheap version of an echo bike. You just sit on it. So I sit on that, strap my feet to it, and just use my arms to kind of spark the movement again. So they'll bring that into the house for me as well to make sure that I can just keep moving and try and prevent the muscle wastage. But the neighbours are cool. They must think I'm an absolute idiot sometimes, but oh well.
Rachel, are you still married?
No, I was
No,
never married.
you're n
No, so I was with the kid's dad for about 8 years, I think, and yeah, traveled the world and all the rest of it with them, and that was quite cool. Obviously, had the kids who I'm so grateful for because they're incredible. But yeah, we just weren't right for one another. So
and you had the kids obviously after your diagnosis.
hmm
How was the pregnancy?
Do you know what? The pregnancy was actually really good for both of them. Isla, I don't know, Hamish was super chilled and he was just such an easy pregnancy because I was like, people have, I wasn't really a mumsy mum. I was never really wanting to have kids. It's like I always knew like I would have them one day, but I wasn't desperate to go and have them right away. So when I fell pregnant, I'm like, oh, well, this is fine. People have children like in jungles and do all the rest of it. So I was like, I'll just have him and that'll be that. And that was my whole mindset towards it. And I remember being in labor with him, full blown labor. I was like, I'm just going to go walk up a hill. And my like Harvey at the time was just like, what? Like, why are you going to walk up the hill? I'm like, just feel like I walk and I'd be walking and be like, oh, fuck. And then he's like, right, you need to go to the hospital now. And then I had him and that was totally fine. And then with Isla, I thought she was going to be like super chilled, super easy, just like Hamish. But no, she's like, as soon as she was in my stomach, it was like I was having issues with my heart. And she was just like a little wildfire from the moment that she was in me. And she was obsessed with sugar as well. So I used to eat like tray bakes of sticky toffee pudding and profiteroles just because she was obviously calling for that. And like now to this day, she's
You mean when
still
she was in your stomach, you could
when
tell
she
she wanted it?
Oh yeah, 100%. So with Hamish, I all I could eat was like broccoli, steaks, and that was about it. Anything else would make me really, really sick. And even to this day, Hamish loves his steak, loves his like seafood, loves really, really good quality food. Whereas Isla, she absolutely loves anything with sugar. Like she loves sweeties, she loves biscuits, she loves cake. And like when she was in my stomach, that's literally all I could eat was like tray bakes of sticky toffee pudding and yeah, profiteroles. Probably not the healthiest, but that's what I could only eat without being sick. But she would send my heart rate like absolutely sky high, and I had loads of issues with her, and we ended up having to have her early. But I think that's just one of the things. But overall, people have it a lot worse than what I did with the pregnancies, and I find myself really, really fortunate to actually have my kids because they're like my best friends in the whole entire world, and I know a lot of people aren't that fortunate. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've never heard it described like that. That it's what the baby's calling for. I remember, all when my wife was pregnant, I remember she could not even be anywhere near onions.
Really?
And I'm trying to remember, I think it was with our first kid, and I wonder, I don't think he likes onions. But she was a vegan when she got pregnant, and
Okay.
within days, she was, eating all the meat she could eat, like, her whole and that boy loves meat, like, he wants to eat raw meat, everything, like, he doesn't care. He
Yeah.
just wants meat, meat, meat. I never thought of it like that.
Oh, it's amazing because, like, when you look at them, you see all the things that happened during your pregnancy, and then you
Yeah.
look at your kids now. You're like, oh my goodness, that was you just telling me exactly how you were going to be from the moment that you were in my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget, we walked into a place, she was just maybe 5 or 6 weeks pregnant, maybe a little further, and she ordered a hamburger.
Whoa.
And I didn't say anything, and then she ate the whole thing, and then that was it. It was on from there. She just started consuming a steak every single day. It was nuts. Yeah, and before she couldn't even stand the smell of, cooking meat.
Really? Did she go back to?
No, now she's
No.
full no, she still there's some meats that bother she doesn't like the smell of bacon,
Okay.
which is crazy to me.
I love the smell of bacon. It's
Me
so good.
too. But, now there's always a ribeye on the stove, like, always, all day. Like, when I wake up in the morning, when I go back out into the house, there'll be a ribeye in there, and it's getting rawer and rawer. She can pretty much eat raw meat, and so can my son. Like, it's like nothing to them. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, what a trip. I never thought of it like that.
Like my son now, I remember being over in Quebec in Canada, and we'd been out for dinner, and he sat there and he spotted these people, and they had, it was like a steak, and then they had lobster on the side with oysters, and he was just like, "That's what I'm having for dinner." I'm like, "Absolutely no, no way, we can't afford that." So my parents ended up buying it, and he sat there and just took all the oysters off his plate, ate the oysters, managed to like crack open the lobster, ate that all himself, and then ate most of their steak. And I'm like, "How can it?" He was only about 5 at this point. And I'm like, "You've got such good taste in food." Whereas I lived like, "No, I just need macarons. I just need macarons. Anything for sweeties, anything for sugar." And it's just, oh, totally different.
Rogue is coming to Scotland.
It is.
Are you gonna go to that?
Well, I didn't get tickets, but I'm going to be there working for Victory Grips. So I will.
Oh, that's nice.
Cool. I'm so excited to meet the guys from Victory Grips as well. This whole journey, obviously going towards the games, and then they were like, "Oh, Rachel, what are you doing for Rogue? Are you going?" I was like, "Nah, I couldn't quite afford to go at the time. Like, well, I went to work," and I was like, "Yes, definitely." So it'll be cool.
How close is that to your house, the venue?
So Aberdeen's about just over 100 miles away.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live, if you look at a map of Scotland, do you know about Loch Ness? Like where the Loch Ness Monster is?
Let me see, Scotland.
Oh, I met somebody in the airport and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" I was like, "Scotland." They're like, "Oh, where's that?" I was like, "The United Kingdom."
They still didn't know.
And they still didn't know, no. It was
So
insane.
you're Scotland's in the north.
Yeah, yeah, so you can probably see Inverness at the top of the map.
What's the name of the town? Aberdeen?
Yeah, so Aberdeen's on the east coast, and then like in the center at the top, there's Inverness.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yep.
Yeah, so there's a big bit of water like just underneath Inverness, and that's pretty much where I stay.
And where is the Rogue is in Aberdeen?
Is in Aberdeen, yeah.
Oh, I wonder that looks almost like it could be the venue when you just drag your finger over it. I wonder what that is, or is that someone's house?
It's not good enough.
You're gonna have so much more fun there going with Victory Grips than if you just went as a spectator. I think it's better to go to an event, or at least it's a unique experience to go to an event and kind of have like duties there. It'll be fun. You're gonna have so much fun.
It'll be so good, and I think there's a few people from our box that are going to be like volunteering as well, so that will be good. There's
A-
quite a
And and I've heard it's almost sold out. I heard there's like just like 200 or 300 tickets left, and they're like just nosebleed seats. Yeah, it's gonna be a wild event. I've heard the Scottish people are just crazy over strongmen, so it should be quite the festivity.
Are you coming over for it as well?
I am not.
Oh no,
No, look how far I live. Too far away.
Texas is quite far away from Inverness.
Oh, oh my God, it's so far away. Texas is so far away.
Yeah.
How long are you staying there? When it's over, do you just fly home, or are you gonna stick around in the States at all?
No, I'm gonna fly home on the Tuesday, so I'll have like Monday to recover and like stretch and try and get my body back in one shape, and then fly out on Tuesday, back home by Wednesday afternoon. Pick the kids up from school and get a big cuddle. I can't wait. It's so strange traveling without them though, because like normally I'll go see my parents who live in Canada, or we'll go away off, and I've always got the kids with me. So actually getting on a flight without my kids, I'm a bit like, "Oh, what do I do? Like I've got nobody to speak to, and this is just weird." But it was kind of nice, but I missed them.
Why do your parents live in Canada?
Oh, my dad's work.
Oh,
Yeah.
does he come back to Scotland a lot?
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? We see each other quite a lot. We're quite lucky. And me and the kids try to go over for 3 weeks in the summer every year. And then my parents come back for the other side of the summer holidays with us. And then they'll be back for Christmas and like when I end up in the wheelchair and stuff, my mom normally comes back to help me if it's for like a prolonged period of time. Yeah, so they're with us quite a lot.
And how old were you when they moved to Canada?
Oh gosh, how old was I? Hamish was 3 weeks old. So not ideal timing whatsoever. So that was in 2017 he was born.
So but you were raised in Scotland, born and raised.
Yeah, born and raised in Scotland.
And have you is this your first time to the States?
Yeah, I've flown through San Francisco on my way to New Zealand, but I've never actually properly been in the States
Mm,
or been in this sort of heat either. Because
yeah.
it's been like aircon going in airports.
Is it crazy hot there? What is it? Is it like 115 degrees hot? Do you know?
Oh, so at the moment it's saying it's 28 degrees Celsius, so I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look. San Antonio weather. Oh, well, when I was in oh yeah, so it's getting to 100 every day. When we were in Fort Worth for the games, it and I've been to a lot of hot places, and it was very unique. Um, I've been to the Gobi Desert in China. I've been to the Sahara in Egypt. I've been to Death Valley in California. I've been to a lot of deserts. Boy,
Yeah.
Texas is, and I've been to Phoenix, Arizona, and boy, Texas is its own special. It's its own, yeah. It's like really hot. It actually looks like it's going to be. Let me see if you get any. Let me look at the 10-day weather. I wonder if you're gonna get any 100. Oh, no, so it's already starting to cool down.
Yeah.
Alright. You'll stay at 100. You won't be going to well, I think when we were there in Fort Worth, it crested over 110, and
Wow.
it was weird.
Yeah. So
Like,
you
breathing was hard.
yeah, that's what we found when we were running the other day. Because obviously we're doing quite a bit of training outside at the moment, obviously trying to keep not too much effort into it, but just trying to acclimatize to the heat. But that's the hardest thing is just trying to acclimatize your breathing to actually be like, this is so hot. Yeah, it's mad. You feel like you're stepping into an oven almost. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. It was great meeting you.
Oh, thank you so much
Um,
for having me.
yeah, you're awesome. If you're wondering how you did, you absolutely killed it. You belong on podcasts. Thank you,
Well,
thank
thank you. You
and
definitely put my nerves at ease as well. So thank you so much.
And thank you. Is Donnie there with you, you said?
No, so obviously we weren't expecting to get through to the games. So Donnie had a family holiday booked to go to Florida. So they were away off across there. So it's my coach Connor that's coming across instead. One of our
Oh, okay. So you will have a coach there.
yeah. So they arrive himself and Joe, his partner. They arrive here tonight about midnight. So I'll be sleeping definitely by then. And then tomorrow it's like athlete check-ins and all the registration stuff and getting to know like the buildings and things like that. So yeah, it's exciting.
Well, awesome. Good to meet you. I'll be watching you on YouTube. You have you sound like your head's in the perfect place, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll chat. I'll chat again sometime.
Cool. Speak to you in a bit.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Rachel Hives competing to be the fittest mom. Oh, good. I'm glad you waited until she got off the air to say that. Good job, Barry. Yeah. Just another hot woman in Texas. I think I showed incredible restraint, fawning over her hair. Man. Man, oh man. That fucking vaccine, man. Uh, last night. Last night. Um, this isn't gonna be for everybody. You're probably not gonna want to see this. Last night, this is a pretty crazy story. I can't find the original post. Somehow I ended up on this girl's Instagram account. I guess her name's Lexi. This is her. I guess I won't make any comments about that. But if you go to her story, this is This is her face 3 days after. I can't remember the exact story. If I can't find the original post that people are posting of her. But this girl went to the hospital for something, I can't remember what, and they told her that they couldn't give her any treatment until she got, updated on her vaccines. This is 3 or 4 days ago. And she got updated on her vaccines, and one of them was measles, which is just like the please, anyone who's thinking about getting the measles vaccine, just do a tiny little bit of research on measles. Uh, Measles and I wanna say that 2 other vaccines. It's the 3 that come in, like, in a bundle, I think. And, this happened to her 3 days after she got the injections. And haven't posted for hours. I'm on 5 or 6 different opioids. All they are giving me is extreme pain meds. They aren't, something my pain just makes me tired. I've been sleeping through my pain because they will not help me and are refusing to let me transfer. Please continue to share, and show what they did to me. I want justice if I don't make it through the night. My family deserves justice for me. Um, she's clearly losing her mind too. I saw a post where she's upset about the quality of her room. Um,
Into the room, telling me, "Oh my gosh, you look like you're in so much pain. We're so sorry." Giving me a new opioid to try and leaving for another 4 hours.
she's upset because she's not getting treatment more than every. Someone said it's mumps, measles, mumps, rubella. Yeah, you're so crazy to go to the hospital and take fucking shots. I don't know who the fuck is still doing that. She should have spent less time posting, probably booty shots and more time reading.
I've been begging for eye drops for at least 6 hours because my eyes burn and they won't let me touch my face, but my eyes are itchy. I can no longer lower my neck.
It looks like something crazy's going. It looks like she looks like all that stuff looks necrotic. I hope it's not.
And there's a giant lump here in my skin. And I've been asking for a CT scan since last night, and they won't come. Again, they're just coming in and telling me, "Oh, we understand you're in pain." I've been screaming and yelling, screaming that I need immediate relief to this. And all they care about is putting me on more opioids to make me tired because I think they don't want me reporting this anymore. Because one of the doctors came in and said that I could be in trouble for recording everything because it's against the nurses' wishes, but I never put any of the nurses on camera, just their voice.
Isn't it crazy? She's still dealing with the drama of life, while she dies. The whole thing is so fucking crazy. The whole thing is so wild.
This is a freedom of speech country. If I have to record what is happening to me, I will. Last thing before I go try and rest again due to all the pain I'm in, I called the police and they told me I wasn't supposed to call because I'm in another hospital. But then they sent a bunch of police officers that work with the hospital in here and told me that they can't do anything. Thank you. Please keep sharing.
Remember parents. Her family's there. Her family's there. Jason Chapman, it's weird I have a boner. Is it weird I have a boner? There were some crazy posts I saw where she was complaining about her room, and her room looked absolutely amazing to me. I don't know what's going on. She's put out posts asking people to call the hospital. Let me see. But basically, supposedly that happened to her like just in 3 days. I don't know if she cleared out her Instagram except for all the slut pictures. Cattle. Maybe I should call them cattle pictures. Cattle call pictures? Is that what they're called? What are those pictures called if you're selling dogs and you want to show people? You know what I mean? Like if you're selling a dog and you lift up its lip and you're like, look at the great canines on my teeny weenies. Hey, dude, keeping it real. No vaccines for babies. Dude, the second you take one of those, your immune system is altered for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. Read these 2 books. Read Dissolving Illusions. Read The Real Anthony Fauci by RFK. Watch the Sean Ryan podcast that RFK did. Read Moth and the Iron Lung. You will have a crazy rude awakening. Crazy rude awakening. Janelle Winston. We are surrounded by. Well, I just saw a post yesterday that said if you're over 35, you have fewer injections than the average 6-month-old. Yeah, catch me outside. How about that? Yeah. Christine Young, her posts have nothing to do with the treatment she needs. She's young and dumb and still deserves better. Fair enough. Of course, I don't know if she deserves better, but it would be nice if she could get some sort of help. She looks like she's gone into some sort of full necrotic. I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to respect anyone, not that I disrespect them, but who has attention or who's drawing attention and isn't doing anything something valuable with it. I'm absolutely disgusted with this dude. Somehow this fucking ass clown has a this guy, his name is Ryan Holiday, and this fucking guy has a Instagram account for dads. And if you're taking any advice from this guy on anything, you should fucking think twice. This guy is a world class. This guy, I don't know him personally, but how he presents on the internet, he is a scumbag of the highest order. This is a rotten human being to his core. Look, the irony that he has tattooed on him, stillness is the key, should say it all. The irony that he has stillness is the key tattooed on him should say it all. And I look at all the tools he hangs out with, and they're all just fucking tools. I almost think that the more popular someone is, you should just sort of equate that to just that they're basically fucking losers. I mean, as your first litmus test. I mean, I think obviously there's exceptions. I think like Rogan's doing incredible work, and he's hugely popular. Paper Street Coffee, the first sentence the pediatrician at the hospital asked me was, we should talk about my kid getting vaccinated. This guy is such a scumbag. At the first vaccine clinic I worked at here in small town outside Austin, Texas, the county vaccinated more than 2,000 people in one day. The last clinic I volunteered at, which closed because no longer put volunteers to use, I checked less than 15 people in for their shots. It was actually a good day. The day before, they had done only 5. This was not because there was a shortage of people who needed their miraculous mRNA vaccines. We, like much of the rural South, have barely cracked 40% vaccination rate for adults. How could this be? Bastrop County is the kind of place where people will pull over and change a tire for you, where we just banded together to pull each other out of the snow during a freak Texas freeze. We're part of a state where flooding and hurricanes bring out the so-called Cajun Navy to rescue neighbors from danger, often at grave risk. What could have happened to make people so indifferent to their own health, let alone to the health of the most vulnerable in our community? This fucking guy goes on without stating one fact, one study. He uses his fucking bullshit stoic fucking crap in order to fucking manipulate people. But if you read through the lines here, this is all his own fear. He's a terrified fucking little boy. Yeah, good people take vaccines is what he's saying. Yeah, this is the exact thing that the CrossFit Games athletes were saying. My consciousness wouldn't let me compete. My good conscience. Oh, your good conscience, huh? So the people who did compete had bad conscience? It says fucking nothing. I know Rogan isn't free. I know he's not free. It's a great point. But as he walks up the stairs to freedom, he's kind of dragging some people home. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, this guy is a scumbag. Just look at him and trust your judgment, just on how he talks, how he presents himself. Like if you see anything authentic about him, just trust your judgment on him. It should be said that this is not a new phenomenon. 2,000 years ago, in the depths of the Antonon plague, Marcus Aurelius wrote, an affected mind is far more dangerous than pestilence, than any plague, because of one threatens your life, the other destroys your character. This fucking idiot is quoting shit that's for himself. He is such a fucking scumbag. Listen to this. They can do something about this problem. They haven't. Why? He's talking about why social media isn't blocking people who are fucking against taking the injection, who are doing forced mandates on drugs. It just so happens that misinformation like political polarization tends to be very good for business. It's like, dude, they were fucking censoring people. This is what this guy fucking thinks. By the way, if you go to his account and you look at all the people who post, this guy's a straight Kamala. This guy's as totalitarian piece of shit as you fucking get. This is from Ryan Holiday. The way to protect the public is obvious. Who talks like that? Ban them. Algorithmically punish their accounts which share their content. Quarantine accounts infected until this temporary fit of insanity passes. Artificially boost information that vulnerable members of society desperately need to hear until they've heard it. Political parties on both sides of the aisle use social media data to target prospective voters, and corporations use the same tools to turn those people into customers. It's like, hey, fucktard, they are doing that. All you guys try to tag me today and see what you get. I'm banned because I don't believe in mandating drugs for kids, and I think all human beings are equal. I don't think blacks are less than whites, or Asians are better than whites, and so I'm banned for that. This guy is such a scumbag, Ryan Holiday. Artificial boost information that vulnerable members of society desperately need to hear until they've heard it. What are you talking about? There's never a fact in here. There's never one piece of data or one fact. It's all just fucking PFAA blah 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 talk. The burpee dude, Sevon, I could not tag you yesterday. Yeah, exactly. Someone told me that you get a warning if you follow Sevon. Yeah. Four out of 10, go harder. I know. I should go harder. I love rankings though. It's good to know I'm only a 4. My wife would be proud. Desperately need to hear until they've heard it. Political parties it's time to demand these platforms to use their own tools to save lives and serve the common good in what is clearly the crisis of our lifetimes. God damn, Ryan Holiday, you are a scumbag. He's a little fucking Hitler, dude. He's a little fucking Mussolini. How the fuck is this guy? How does anyone follow this piece of shit? It is fucking unreal. As I read this yesterday, I was just like, how can I talk about this fucking ass clown without being just a complete fucking asshole? I don't know if there is a way. Look at this little weasel.
They expect you to read like this book one time and then you just absorb it forever, even though every day you're becoming a different kind of parent because your kids are a little bit older and you're experiencing something new that you've never experienced before. And so that's one of the things I tried to solve with Daily Dad, which is the idea that actually what you need is like a reminder, a thought, an intention every day. Just one thing to think about.
How about call yourself the daily cuck? How about call yourself the daily baby killer? It sucks because everyone I see on his Instagram account,
I was at Ryan Holiday's bookstore outside of Austin, which is amazing.
Painted Porch. It's a great bookstore.
He has the best bookstore.
Yeah.
What a life.
Yeah.
I love him. He's such a good dude. I went to his bookstore and
yeah, I hate those guys now. He's like a little finger monkey. Man, what a fucking piece of shit. Yeah, all these people I see that interacts with, I just think they're all tools. Oh, this guy's the biggest.
The thing I like about all your books, man.
Is Charlemagne going tranny? Is he transitioning? What's he doing? What's happening to him? Is he transitioning? Just fucking racists and fucking gathering. God, and Chris Williamson too.
There's this experience you have where you read something, it either doesn't make sense to you or it doesn't register.
Some of these people on here, by the way, I know and I've spoken with, and it's so funny to see them come out now because when I spoke to them years ago, they knew that the fucking vaccine was bullshit. They knew all the woke shit was going on. They knew that the fucking left was pushing this fucking divisive fucking racist agenda, and they were afraid to talk about it. And you know why? They would tell me they were afraid to talk about it because they didn't want to lose followers or they didn't want to get banned. It's just fucking coward central. God damn. And I started going to all these people's accounts yesterday that are kind of in his circle, you know the group. We have they intersect with CrossFit, and I guess this is kind of why I respect Rogan more than the others. At some point, all of these people turn to just telling other people how to be successful. Like that's their success. That's all they do is tell other people how to be successful. Yeah, I don't. Unlike this show, yeah. I just tell you guys how to fucking be cool. I tell you guys what to think. I tell you not to fucking touch the Cheerio. Don't touch the butthole. I'd like you to play the video where he talks about raising kids. Total hypocrite. I can guarantee you he's a fucking shithole dad. He's a piece of shit. And the reason, for those of you who don't know, the reason why this is so ironic, this fucking moron's tattoo, stillness is the key, is nowhere in stillness does it tell you to get that tattoo. So you're like, okay, well, it's just a paradox. He knows that. But nowhere in Stillness do you write retarded shit about the fucking injection. Like, that's a noisy, scared brain. You guys all know those people who have the noisy, scared brain. They're completely fucking freaking out about fucking they'd rather chase the fear and play the victim than have some stillness and be like, let me see what my mind tells me. Let me see what my stillness tells me about COVID. There's nowhere in that space where it tells you to get the injection. There's nowhere inside of you that's healthy that's like, oh, my baby's just born, let them inject my baby with drugs. There's nowhere. That's not the planet we're living on. There's nowhere. It's fucking batshit crazy, man. And anyway, I got pretty wound up last night about this guy. And the irony is if anyone should be banned, it should be him. Spreading information about hurting kids. You know what you'll never be surprised about if it comes out about this guy, right? You know what you'll never be surprised about. Nothing that comes out about this guy would ever surprise you. Look at him. Nothing. Diddy went to fucking jail, huh? Diddy. They're presenting it like they're presenting his oh, I wonder if I have to go pick up my van from the Toyota dealership. They're presenting Diddy like he went to New York to turn himself in. That's how his lawyers are presenting it. Hey, isn't it fascinating that explain this to me. Isn't it fascinating that it's the Palestinians and the in their army, what's their army called? Hamas are the ones who are doing all the killing, yet people only protest against the Israelis for their killing. Do you know why they only protest against the Israelis? Why are there not? Why? How come? Have you seen the streets fill up anywhere protesting Hamas, asking them to stop the killing? How come all the protests are about the Israelis? How come there's never protest about the? How come there's never been a protest in the streets to tell the Taliban to stop killing? Do you guys know why? How come there's never protests in the street telling all the black people to stop killing each other? How come there's no protests like that? Anyone know why? How come there's not just huge marches on DC or in Chicago or in Detroit asking black people to stop killing each other? How come it's the burning down of Portland? Does anyone know why? Goes against what narrative? Why? Why aren't there huge, like, so Hamas goes in, kills 1,000 Jews, and you would think the streets would fill, right? To protest to Hamas to appeal to them, please stop killing the Jews. How come it's never like that? How did 6 Israelis get fucking shot in the head at point blank range right before they were going to be saved, and 500,000 Israelis took the streets and protested against their own country? How is that? Why didn't they protest against Hamas? Why don't they protest against Egypt and ask Egypt to open the border? How come on 4th of July when 100 black men are fucking shot in Chicago and 25 are killed and 6 black kids are killed, that there's not huge protests? Again, why aren't there just white people storming the streets begging black people to stop killing each other? How come there's not black people in the streets storming the streets? Fuck it, let's say mixed. How come there's not black and white and Asian people storming the streets begging black people to stop killing each other? I don't think only and never is a true statement. Fine. Fine. Mason, we don't care about facts here, only feelings. Mason, pick a number. Mason, I'll use it. Pick a number, David. I'll use it. 90%? How come 90% of the protests are all... tell me. What number? You pick the number, I'll use it. 90%? 99%? 51%? Have you ever seen a protest? I've seen shitloads of protests saying that the against racism, against people protesting that the United States is racist against blacks. I've never seen one protest, never one, but I'm open to correction. I've never seen one protest where it's just shitloads of people saying, begging, demanding that black people stop killing each other. 12 unarmed black men killed, but tens of thousands killed, killing each other. But all the protests are against the cops. Why is that? I'm waiting, David Mason. I'm waiting. I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting. Go ahead. Right. That's what I thought. I can only think of one reason why they don't. I can only think of one reason. I can only think of one reason why people don't protest against Hamas to stop the violence. Yeah, that shut you guys up real quick, huh, Mason and David? Morons. Just shut you guys the fuck up. Oh, it's not never. Okay, cool. All right. You sound like my wife, so pick a number. Go ahead. Scared for being killed for hating Muslims. No, because fucking no one respects them enough to fucking protest against them. That's my take. No one fucking respects a single fucking Muslim person enough to fucking make a protest. You know, Armenia's building the largest statue in the world of Jesus. Have you guys seen that? Armenia's building, it's going to be bigger than the one that they have in Brazil. And I sent that article to a friend the other day, and they responded with a thumbs down. Now this friend is arguing with me that it's cool that in Minneapolis that they're going to play the Muslim prayer, a prayer from the Quran over loudspeakers in the city 5 times a day at 6 minutes a pop. Oh, that's really cool. They have the right to do that. But a statue of Jesus in Armenia is a thumbs down with nothing else, just a thumbs down. I'm like, Jesus, wow. I don't know. I don't know why it's the other way around. You tell me. I'm fucking asking you. It's a fucking question. I assume it's because no one has any respect for them. I assume that no one's going to be like, we're going to protest against Hamas to stop killing Israel, and all they're going to do is kill you. Like, those are the people that, like, take to the streets of Palestine and be like, imagine those people taking the streets and be like, Hamas, please stop killing Jews or in their own people. Imagine Hamas doing that, gathering in the streets. Do you know why they don't? Probably because fucking they would get killed, because Hamas would kill them. And yet you're protesting in the streets in the place where you can do it against the people who are protecting you. It's fucking insane. We live with fucking morons. No, sorry. Not today. Oh, my bad. I thought you were going to be our beacon of light and enlighten us. But next time, just say that. Don't call me Democrat-y. David would like to switch to some more pop culture, which I don't blame him. Check the Diddy presser. Is there something new? Hi, I'm Ryan Holiday. Make sure you get the injection, and whatever you do, practice stillness. except for when it means to go get the injection. And by the way, I'm Ryan Holiday. I look like a finger monkey. Do you guys know what a finger monkey is? I look like a finger monkey. And I think that they should do censorship on social media. They should ban those people. Hi, I'm Ryan Holiday. I have advice for you on how to raise boys. But first, I'm going to learn how to talk. God, he's such a bitch. You guys know what a finger monkey is? Oh, shit, I ended up on Facebook. By the way, anyone who sends me stuff on Facebook, I don't go there because I don't know why. I just don't go there. I don't know why I don't go there. But so I never go there. Like anytime I click Facebook on my phone, it like wants a login or something. I don't really know how to do that. This is a finger monkey. Hi, I'm Ryan Holiday. I'm a finger monkey. Get your injection and I believe in censorship. Because I'm right and you're wrong. I hang out with Tim Ferriss. He's a weasel too. I make money off of telling you that your life sucks and you should change it. Are you doing Ryan Holiday or Travis Brault? I should have a Ryan Holiday button. That's the old mayor of Chicago. Oh, that's Lori Lightfoot. Oh, I thought that was a finger monkey. My bad. Hi, I'm Ryan Holiday. I had to have special glasses made for me because my eyes are so close. I think there's some study that the closer your eyes together, the lower your IQ is. I thought I saw something like that once. And that's the thing. Like, I don't care. Like, if you want to get it, like, that's the thing. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not asking for any censorship. Put all the fucking propaganda you want out there and all the fear tactics you want out there to scare people to take it. Let David Weed take it. I don't care. But when your solution is to shut the other side up in the name of good, when we just saw a fucking chick with her face melting off, I mean, if that guy wasn't such a fucking coward and a pussy, why wouldn't he say something like, "Hey, only 1,000 people supposedly died from measles in the previous 10 years to the vaccine coming out, and 6,000 people have died in the first 5 years from the injection coming out, with a net loss of 5,000 people in half the time. You make the decision." He didn't even. Maximilian Vargas. I think people are generally too stupid by design to think about a lot of the variables that factors into the issues today. They can only go one layer deep. So I think people are not generally too stupid by design. I think they're smart by design. That's what's so impressive about keeping so many of them stupid. But I appreciate the sentiment of what you're saying. And how about just some numbers? How about just some facts? How about just one? How about how about saying, how about just something? The only numbers he used in that whole talk is the percentage of people who are getting it to who are not getting it. I don't know anything about Lincoln Park. I think Greg used to like them. I don't know anything about them. Someone was asking a question about Lincoln Park. Lebanese hospital overwhelmed as hundreds upon hundreds of Hezbollah terrorists arrived with critical injuries after Israel allegedly hacked their pagers and blew them up remotely in an incredible operation never seen before. Oh, I wonder what they did. It's like a family reunion of mine. That's what it sounds like at one of my family reunions. I wonder what they did. What happened? Does anyone know? Sounds like they tracked their pagers, or they actually made their pagers blow up. Oh, here we go. Let me see if this wow. Hundreds of members of Hezbollah were seriously wounded on Tuesday when their pagers they used to communicate exploded. Wow. Oh shit. Wow. Wow. You guys want to see this video? Wow. I only have a small video of it. This is crazy. Wow, so they blew up their pagers. Holy shit. Let me see if I can find the video to play you guys. It says graphic content, but I don't see hundreds of members of the Iran-backed Hezbollah terror organization were wounded on Tuesday when their pagers, which apparently had been hacked, exploded simultaneously in Beirut and elsewhere in Lebanon. Wow. You guys want to see the video? Yes? No? Maybe so. Crazy. I wonder if they could do that to our iPhones, blow up our iPhones. I can't make it big. That's why it's here. I'll view in channel. Let me see if I can view in channel. Make it big for you. Nope. Man. It was not indiscriminate. It was Lebanon wide. It was anything with lithium ion battery, including cell phones. Iran ambassador also taken out. Wow. It was not indiscriminate. No, I don't think that's the right word. Indiscriminate. Indiscriminate. Indiscriminate, done at random or without careful judgment. It was not done at random. Oh, right. It was not okay. Yeah, but it was Lebanon wide. It was anything with a lithium battery. Yeah, but Avera, the way you're writing this is that everything after it was indiscriminate sounds like you're saying the opposite. It was anything with a lithium battery, including cell phones. Iran ambassador also taken out. Wow. Fear porn, maybe. Jews are the smartest. That's true. The old double negative. Yeah, is that how you're kind of reading it, Mason? I'm a little yeah, stillness. Let me Iran ambassador. Oh yeah. Wow. Iran's ambassador to Lebanon injured by pager explosion. Dubai, September 17th, Reuters. Iran's ambassador to Lebanon, Amani, was slightly injured on Tuesday by the explosion of electronic pager. Iran semi-official Fars news agency reported as numerous such devices exploded across Lebanon. Amani was superficially injured and is currently under observation in a hospital. More than 1,000 people across Lebanon, including Hezbollah fighters and medics, were wounded on Tuesday when the pagers they used to communicate exploded, security sources told Reuters. All right. So their comms are down? Is that the moral of the story? Like they're not communicating well with each other right now? crazy. What's funny is those. Let me show you guys the video. You guys want to see the video of the pager exploding? Here. It's not very good, but oh, maybe I can make it bigger. Let me see. Oh yeah, here we go. Ready? Isn't that weird? Why doesn't that guy check on him? Not one of those guys goes over and checks on him? Wow. Yesterday I was took the van over to the Toyota dealership. It's 2 miles from my house, and then I had to walk home. On the entire walk home, I don't see a single other person walking. I see a couple homeless guys in front of a church getting like free food. And then I was crossing the bridge, one of those bridges, you know, that there's a freeway and there's a bridge that goes over it so cars can go on either side of the freeway. And I'm walking and I see 5 nails on the ground. I pick up the 5 nails. Of course I do, right? And I pick them up and I cross the freeway and then there's some bushes and I throw them into the bushes. And I thought to myself, that's probably a greater contribution than fucking anyone else in my town has done today. That's how little I think of people's contribution. And when I see that fucking pager explode and no one go over to the guy, just 4 grown men stare at him like he's a fucking like a dog in the street, I think, all right, yep, I'm right. Yep. It's so easy to be a fucking good person. All you Southerners are probably good people. I feel like it's more. Oh, the entire region has PTSD. Returning shopping carts is greater than picking up random nails. Oh, you're out of your mind. You're out of your fucking mind. Think of all the flat tires I saved. Maximilian Vargas, nah, I'm a piece of shit and I'm from Texas. All right, fine. All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Good luck, Rachel. Hives at the San Antonio Wheelwad CrossFit Games, September 19th through the 22nd. Keeping it real. Read those books. Listen to those books. Get the audiobook, Dissolving Illusions. Listen to anything by RFK. Don't listen to him about climate change or racism, though. He's confused. He's still stuck in guilty racist land. Talk to you guys soon. Oh, show tonight? Really? Why? Is there something? Justin, you know why your photo triggers me? There's a guy who's just a fucking douche on YouTube who just is Samuel something or another. And everywhere he fucking posts, he just goes after Greg. He just cannot stop attacking Greg. He's such a scumbag. He's like a PhD in something. He thinks he's so fucking smart. And he's a moron. And he's upset because this guy's upset because Greg keeps showing the fails of modern medicine and science. And he's so frustrated. He can't ever say anything to refute what Greg says, but he just attacks. Anyway, your picture looks like his. I don't think there is a show tonight. No. Oh, Sousa has a show. Sousa has a show. I assume Sousa has a show. Oh, that show's going to be good today, I think. If you're going to go to the Rogue Invitational, you better get your tickets. That sucker's like almost sold out. Oh, Sousa's this afternoon? Okay. All right. Hopefully Trump's still alive tomorrow. It's always nice to wake up every morning and Trump's still alive.
Look, here's what I'm just saying. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life. Okay.
Right.
It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. I've just, for whatever reason. Can you imagine if I had, what a mess I'd be? I'd be the world's worst. But I never drank. Look, here's what.
God, I love that dude. All hail the king. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.